Hello bakers and little monsters, and welcome back to an extra special video on my channel. Now it has been a great week for music, and that's because last Friday Lady Gaga released the second single from her brand new album Chromatica, and this time it's a collaboration with the one and only Ariana Grande. Of course, I'm talking about Rain on Me, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the links down below in the description. Go and watch the Rain on Me music video. The song is incredible, the music video is stunning, and I'll give you my reaction and thoughts on those later on in the video. But to celebrate Rain on Me and her new album coming out on Friday, I thought we'd make a cake inspired by the visuals from the music video. I've also made some cakes for Lady Gaga and Ariana in the past, not for them personally, but for their new music. So if you want to catch those, I'll leave the links down below too. And if you enjoy them, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you get an alert when I release some more foodie fun. Okay, first things first, we need to make the sponge before we get decorating. So this is what you need to do. For this recipe, we're gonna make a dark chocolate sponge to match the dark undertones of this song. It's a really easy recipe. All you need to do is cream together your butter and sugar until light and fluffy. Crack your eggs into a jug and give them a little whisk, and then slowly pour them into your mix. If the mixture begins to curdle, add in some flour and keep on mixing. We're then gonna add in the rest of the flour, some mixed spice, vanilla, and we're going to make a paste from our cocoa powder and some boiling water. Stir this through and then add it into your mix, and you want to stir everything together until it's well combined. Grease and line a baking tin and then pop your mixture in using a spatula to make sure it's nice and even before you pop it into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. It should cook for about 45 minutes until a skewer comes out clean. Okay, so while the cake is baking, let's talk about the single itself. Rain on Me is an incredibly powerful song. It's an epic dance anthem with some really deep lyrics, and that's because they're talking about the trauma that both Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande have experienced in the past. But the whole point of it is they're letting that wash over them and they're still having a good time. The beat is so incredible and addictive. I cannot wait until we're allowed out so we can dance to it. And my only critique is probably that it's too short, but you know, I'm happily listening to it every day on loop. Anyway, so let's go get on to decorating the cake, and then we'll talk about the music video shortly. It is all about pink in Chromatica, so we're going to sandwich this with a pink buttercream icing. It's a really easy buttercream icing recipe as well. You want to start off by whisking your butter together until it's light and fluffy, and then add in your icing sugar a bit at a time. Keep on whisking until it's nice and smooth, and then add in your vanilla and your milk. Add in enough pink food colouring to get a lovely, vibrant pink, and then keep on mixing until it's lovely and even. Once your cake is completely cooled, you want to create yourself a stencil, and I've just drawn this onto some baking paper and then cut it out. Level off the top of your sponge and then cut around your stencil. I'm then going to slice this in half so we get 2 even layers, and place the first onto my board. Place some of your buttercream icing on top and then use a spatula to smooth that down. You can then sandwich your second sponge layer over that, and then we're going to crumb coat all of the outside with a thin layer of buttercream to trap in all of those chocolate crumbs. Once you've got that nice and even, pop it into the fridge to firm up for an hour. To add some depth to the cake, I'm going to take some pink fondant and use that to pad out the bra area. You then want to take some more buttercream and coat the entire thing with a slightly thicker layer than before. Smooth this down and then return it to the fridge for another hour. Okay, so our cake needs to cool before we start on the final decorations. Speaking of which, this cake is going to be decorated to match Lady Gaga's outfit from the start of the Rain on Me music video. And when it came up, I was pretty lost for words. I knew we were in for a treat, and this music video definitely does not disappoint. It's got everything. A little bit of sci-fi, some epic choreography, the looks are so cool and so space age. Both Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande taking style tips from each other as they do their crossover, and Ariana Grande's dancing in this is so good. They are having an amazing time and letting themselves go, and I just want to practice those moves too. Anyways, I cannot wait to see the rest of the visuals and music videos from this album, and you never know, maybe we'll have a few more cakes on the way too. Speaking of which, let's go and finish up the decoration for this one. We're going to cover the entire cake with our pink fondant, so you want to lightly flour your surface and roll out the fondant so it's about ½ centimeter thick. Use your rolling pin to ease it over the cake and then smooth it into place. Roughly trim the edges and then smooth it down before cutting more precisely. I'm then going to use the remaining fondant to create the Chromatica logo. For this, I've taken a base circle and then rolled a sausage out of some more pink fondant and used this to trace out my design. You then want to place a thinner circle of your fondant over the top and use some fondant tools to press it into place. You can then cut that out and you've got a logo to match the temporary album art. I'm also going to use some modelling paste to recreate one of the daggers from this music video, which are falling from the sky. For this, I've traced out my dagger shape and then roughly rolled some modelling paste into the same length before cutting that out. Use your hands to smooth off the corners and give it a more realistic feel, and then we're going to make some indentations for the top and middle part of our dagger. You can also use some mesh to give it some added texture. Once your fondant has dried, you can then move on to the final decorations. For this, I've taken some black fondant and I'm going to use it to make the smaller details on the bottom of her dress. Use your fingers to spread these out into some fins and then stick them down. Next, I'm going to make a little bit of edible paint using food colouring and mixing alcohol. Blend this together and then you can begin painting the smudges that are all over her outfit. Take your time and feel free to play the music video on repeat to make sure you get it as close as possible. Use a series of brushes and sponges to get different layers, making sure you pay attention to both the top and the sides. Once you're happy with the design, you can then roll out some more of your pink fondant into a thin sausage and use this to line underneath the bra. To finish off the Chromatica logo and my dagger, I've taken some silver luster dust and some mixing alcohol and mixed that into an edible paint. I'm then going to paint some highlights and lowlights on the logo, and then use different shades of my silver to paint out the dagger. You can also add a line of definition down the middle. All that's left to do is assemble these next to the cake, and it's time to rain on me. It may look too good to eat, but if you can bring yourself to cut the cake, then take out a wedge and you can also drop a dagger in, just like the music video. So there you have it, our Rain On Me music video inspired cake for Chromatica is complete. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. And if Friday the 29th has been and gone and Chromatica is out, let me know too which is your favourite song from the album. I will be honestly binging through it for the rest of the year and keeping it on loop, but I'll take a little break to reply to your comments as well and let you know what I think. That is all for this episode, but if you want to see more from my kitchen, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, click on the notification bell, and then you'll get an alert every time I upload a brand new video. I'm off to tuck into my Rain On Me cake, and I'll see you next time.